The Nigeria Premier Football League. Enugu Rangers champions of the NPFL. But then with the title already settled before the final day, second place Remo Stars and third place Enyimba still found themselves in a must-win situation to seal their place in the CAF Champions League and, of course, the CAF Confederation Cup, respectively, next season. In Ikene, it was Remo Stars who took their destiny into their own hands against Gombe United, winning that game 2-1 to seal the second spot and a continental ticket for the third time in their history. And former champions Enyimba left it late in Aba as an 78 minutes goal from Chijioke Mbaoma plus another from Alade Balogun in the 88 minutes saw them beat Plateau United 2-0. But they held to a goalless draw. The third spot and the CAF Confederation Cup ticket would have gone to 3SC, who beat Sporting Lagos 1-0 in Ibadan. What do you make of that battle for the continental place between Remo Stars, Enyimba, and of course Shooting Stars?
Udoka, is that for me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so for me it was very exciting, because 3 games to the end of the season, we started seeing how the placement for the continental slots was supposed to happen. And it was really exciting because I had a lot of friends from Enyimba, a lot of friends from Shooting Stars. And then obviously, Shooting Stars were going to play Sporting Lagos, who needed that win to stay in the top flight. So it made it a little bit more interesting. And I think for me personally, has to be one of the most interesting final day games. It was going to be very interesting. Enyimba, because of what happened with them against Rangers, and then obviously the Doma issue meant that they needed to win to stand any chance to play in the CAF Confederations. Or if Remo faltered the CAF Champions League. So it was very, very late. Match 87, I beg your pardon, was the fact that Rangers were the winners. Apart from that, every other person had to play in the top 5, had to play for something. So it was really exciting. And then to make matters more interesting, first half Enyimba versus Plateau United 0-0, and then up to the 70th minute or thereabout, it was still goalless, while Shooting Stars were leading Sporting Lagos by 1-0. So at that point, it meant that Shooting Stars were going to go above Enyimba to qualify for the continent. But like you said, Chijioke Mbaoma came up, and then Alade Balogun too. So it meant obviously that Shooting Stars will have to wait for another year. But I must say kudos to them. At the start of the season, I said they were going to finish mid-table. They didn't start the league very well, but in the second round, they came up really, really big. And I'm, really happy for them. Benga Okokucha and the other guys at Shooting Stars in Ibadan. So kudos to them, but it was a very exciting final day for me and a lot of NPFL enthusiasts around the country.
True, but let's talk about Rangers International. Do you think the LMC did right by deducting 3 points from Enyimba after that Oriental derby? Shouldn't the punishment, would you have preferred just a fine instead of deducting points so that we know that we go straight down the wire, talking about the last game of the season to determine the winner of the NPFL? Do you think the reduction of 3 points from Enyimba, did it dampen their morale, looking at them hoping to win the title?
Yes, obviously, it did. But they have nobody to blame except themselves. All of us watched that game. It was a very perfect scenario for us to promote the game. It was a great advert for the NPFL. The stadium was full, like the capacity was full. And then the game itself was really good until that incident happened. And I felt that it was Enyimba, for who they are and what they represent in the NPFL, should have been much more professional. Now, I'm not saying Rangers don't have issues too, because I think I spoke to the CEO. I told him, listen, as soon as you find out that fans are coming to the stadium, once you get the capacity you need, you shut the gates, you get security operatives to block the entrances. That didn't happen. There were too many people on the field. They were even encroaching past the pitch panels and into the pitch. So it was really bad in that regard, and Rangers were punished in that regard. But if you look at the framework and the rules guiding the league, the rules that were applied to deduct the 3 points from Enyimba and give it to Rangers was fair. So Rangers even went to the appeals committee. The appeals committee said, listen, nobody's happy this thing has happened, but the rules are the rules. The rules might be an ask, but the rules are the rules. So I think it is justifiable in that sense that the rule book was thrown at Enyimba, and then the 3 points for that game was given to Rangers, and then the 3 goals were also given to them. Obviously, Enyimba were not happy. I really understand why they were not happy at that point. But again, at the end of the day, the rules are the rules, and it also affected them going into their game against Bayelsa United on March the 37th, which they drew 1-1. So that also played into their minds. If they had won that game, they would have probably gotten nearer to the CAF Champions League spaces instead of the CAF Confederations Cup. But yeah, I think personally, if you ask me, Rangers were better in the game against the Enyimba. They got the PK, which never happened. And then the game against Bayelsa United in Aba, which they drew 1-1, was probably one of the reasons why they are where they are. So it's one of those things that happen. No, we do not want boardroom points, but the rules are the rules. We might not even like it, but the rules are the rules.
The rules are the rules. Now let's talk about Lagos and Lagos fans. Quite sentimental, to be very, very honest. But then just one season in the NPFL, Sporting Lagos are back in the Nigerian National League, the second tier. They were doomed for relegation after a 1-0 defeat against Shooting Stars in Ibadan. They needed a win against the Oluyole Warriors to be sure of their safety, but that would not have been enough, considering other results which saw Bayelsa United and Akwa United record wins. The Lagos club started the season under manager Paul Ofor, but he was sacked with 8 games remaining in the league, while they were 13th on the table. Now, the question is, were they wrong to fire Paul Ofor, who had about 8 games remaining? What would have been better for Sporting Lagos? Talking about how they performed in the NPFL, because to be honest, they brought a lot of Lagos fans to their stadium and the publicity was massive. But of course, you play football on the football pitch, not outside the football pitch. It just didn't work for them towards the end of the season, and now they've been relegated.
It's rather unfortunate, Udoka, and I think that they should have left Paul Ofor there. There were signs that things were improving. They brought in a couple of new players, Jamil Mohammed from Kano Pillars, people like Deliki, a few other guys came in, and I felt the team was beginning to understand themselves. And the boys have been with Paul for a while, so that's companionship, that camaraderie will definitely help them to gel and get proper with the remaining 8 games of the season. And again, I feel very bad that Sporting Lagos were relegated, because we've always advocated for a new set of fans to come into the
Okay, I think the network, the gremlins are beginning to creep in, and I'm sure we'll still have Andrew Randa talk to us about his views on the NPFL and how the season went. But Tolu, looking at how Sporting Lagos performed, were they right to have fired Paul Ofor, the manager of the club?
Yeah, we called him a noisy neighbor, and it's quite unfortunate that he will not be at the NPFL. We will not be able to watch a match in the NPFL again this season. But it was not right for them to sack Paul Ofor. 8 games to the end of the season, and I don't know, they would have just kept him and just see what's going to happen at the end of the season. But bringing him, and what happened at the long run, the new coach actually lost 4, I think, lost 4, 1-2 or Jutes and all that. I could not put Sporting Lisbon back to the league. They are relegated obviously now, and it's quite unfortunate that we'll be missing them in the NPFL. NNL is always very tough to play. You know how it is. Even in all the tiers of league in the world, talking about the Serie B, even the Bundesliga, it's very tough to play because you play longer games and you play some scheduled games you are not expected to play. So they are back to NNL. They will fight their way back again to the NPFL. Maybe next season, we don't know. And it's going to be for Sporting Lagos to sit down with our management board and look for a way to get back to the NPFL. But it's quite unfortunate they are out, and we clamor for a team in Lagos, which we saw last season. We all clamor for a team so we can watch a team in Lagos, because we've not seen a team in Lagos for a very long time. But now they are out, and we will not be watching any game in the NPFL this season. So they are going to play NNL, and Apollo 4 is quite unfortunate that he got sacked before the end of the season, and it wasn't really cool for them to have done that. But they felt they would have brought in another coach to actually change the team, but he could not do that, and they actually relegated. So, Sporting Lagos is not good for the fans. They have a lot of fans. I think I'm one of the fans too. Look at the fact that they spend a lot of money in merchandise, in branding, in publicity, and now they're out. So maybe they will replicate same stuff in the NNL and come back to the NPFL next season.
All right, we'll see how that turns out, because Leicester City went down to the championship and they came back strong, winning the championship. They're back in the EPL and they hope to do better. For Sporting Lagos, back to the NNL, but then we still have a club to represent Lagos, talking about Ikorodu City, and probably the sporting fans would switch to Ikorodu City and we still enjoy the very best of football right here in Lagos. I know that Andrew Randa is back with us, and let's talk about Enyimba striker Chijioke Mbaoma, who sees himself as a 3.4 million naira richer for winning the NPFL Golden Boot with 17 goals. Now, each goal, I heard, is valued by the sponsors at 200,000 naira. Before the final day, he led the goal chart with 16 goals, one more than Remo Stars' Sikiru Alimi, and he added one more on Sunday to steer clear of his challenger who failed to score. Now, Mbaoma succeeds his former Enyimba teammate, Emeka Obioma, as the winner of the award. Remember, Emeka Obioma scored the highest goal last season, which helped Enyimba win the title. But looking at how Chijioke Mbaoma has performed, 17 goals and winning the top prize in the NPFL. Great goal scorer, highest goal scorer in the NPFL. But when you compare the highest goal scorer in the NPFL to some other football leagues across Africa, even in Europe, you'll be like, we've not even started yet. Do you agree with this?
Look, the Nigerian league is a tough league. Udoka, it's a very, very tough league. And unfortunately, we don't have good finishers. Look, I can guarantee you that Chijioke, for everything he's done, he will have been at 25 to 30 goals. And I say this with all seriousness. If you watch your last game against Plateau United, he had at least 3 one-on-ones with the goalkeeper, and then a couple of chances. He could have scored 5 goals that game. He only got 1. And this is some of the things we discussed in some of our groups. We need natural finishers to come into the league and do the business. But I understand the Nigerian league is very, very physical. It is very, very tough. The travels and everything. So when people talk about, we have goal scorers, but we need to do better in the finishing. Chijioke Mbaoma, a lot of other guys, Mfomoto got 20, Ahmed Musa and all that. But I tell you what, if they can just work on their finishing, they will be raking in 25, 30 goals. A lot of their matches, I've seen about 5 Enyimba games on TV, more or less. And when you see some of the chances missed, it's criminal. Plateau United, the same thing. Albert Hillary, Nerot Silas, most of these guys, Nerot is on 6 goals, Hillary is about 12. They missed a lot of chances through the league. If you want to start calculating how many chances are created for them and how many they scored, the ratio might be 1 to 4. So imagine if it is even 1 to 2, Mbaoma would be at 38 goals, 34 goals or thereabout. So I think it's one of the things we need to find out. But again, at the end of the day, we have to give credit to these guys. Playing in the NPFL and the NNL is very, very difficult. When they go abroad, it's much more easier. The pitches are better, the nutrition is better, you get more assists, more clear-cut chances. So but again, in one part, I think they have to do much, much better finishing-wise. On another part, I think that, the league itself is a very tough and physical league. I've played in the amateur leagues and the NLO. I know how hard it is, and it's no different with the NPFL. So kudos to Mbaoma and the other guys. Sikiru Alimi chased him all the way. Albert Hillary, Godwin Obaje, Ibrahim Mustafa Yugat, Kano Pillar. So a lot of these guys scored double digits this season. And most importantly, I have to deviate a bit. I mentioned Rabiu Ali, who is 43. You talked about Ashley Young, who is 39.
Yeah.
But Rabiu Ali is 43, and he already has double digits in goal contributions this season for Kano Pillars. He's done that for the last 7 seasons with Doka. I have to do my research. Has to be probably the best in the world in any top flight league for somebody that is 40 plus or 38 plus to score, to have double digits in goal contributions, goals plus assists in 7 consecutive seasons. We have to find an award and give Rabiu. He's been fantastic.
Definitely. Now, before I talk about the teams that we promoted to the NPFL, I like what you spoke about. It has to do with data. Now, what can we do to get data out there so that the world can actually see what's going on right here in the Nigeria Premier Football League? Because it is not being talked about enough. A lot of us keep looking at the EPL and we say our records are being broken left, right, and center. But a lot is happening in the Nigeria Premier Football League. You mentioned the likes of Rabiu Ali banging in goals for his club side at the age of 43. What can we do to do better when it comes to data to spread the word out there?
Well, I think that the NPFL board needs to sit down and listen. Nigeria is a very, very different type of country. Most of my write-ups, I always say Nigeria is an enigma of sorts. we need to be able to sit down and say, listen, we understand that our league is not where we want it to be. How can we go about this? I've got young guys that work with me who are statisticians. They are experts in this field. There's Samuel Ario, some very nice young man in Ibadan, who on his own has a page where he collects data. But collecting data is very expensive. We need experts on the field. We need people to commit monies into this, because data collection is an expert field itself in sports. It's very, very different. So we need specialized people in this part. We need the NPFL to say, listen, 5 or 6 people, this is your duty. I'm going to get 2 or 3 people in every match center, in every day. We're going to get them gadgets. We're going to get them data-specific gadgets for gathering data so that we can have all of these things. Most of what we do with Udoka is manually. Some of us have dedicated the last 15, 16 years collecting this data. But there's a lot of loopholes in it because it's manual collection. The only thing to show off is who scored what, who has. The television has to be a team to start collection for every club and the league body itself. So it's all about finance. First of all, the TV is on start times, but we can do better with it. We also need a dedicated team to be able to collect some of this data. When I was at the LMC, I and George Akpayan were saddled with getting data related to assists, clean sheets, and all that. It was a very, very difficult task. Sometimes we have to send people with our personal monies to the stadiums to see who and who is there, who is playing, who is not, who is in the goalpost, who is not. You know, in fact, team sheets and all that, yellow cards, red cards, we have to do better. And this is not just the NPFL. For those who love the league like us, those who are passionate, we need to come together. New Central, as a TV station too, can also chip in. So the ecosystem, the whole football community, the whole football league community in Nigeria has to do better. But majority of it has to come from the NPFL. There has to be a direct willingness to do these things. There has to be that zeal, that passion that we want to get proper stats out there, because stats is everything these days. Fortunately and unfortunately, you know, but it's a very, very key area for us to be able to get some of these things so that we can move forward. When I speak to a lot of people about Christian Nwoke, Yusuf Abdullahi, the 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid that got 5 goals away at Gombe United, I think it was match day 17, I'm not sure. I've done a bit of research all around the world. There's no 15-year-old anywhere that has scored 5 goals in 50 minutes in a top flight league anywhere in the world. Well, unfortunately, it's not out there because there's no promotion for the media. There's no support for the media. There's no support for independent content creators. There's no support for people who on their own decide to push the NPFL narrative. The NPFL as a board need to be able to sit down. This season is finished. Thankfully, if they are listening to me, call these guys to a round table. Ask them, we've seen what you've done on social media. We've seen what you've done on conventional media. Where can we key in? Where can we help you? How can we make these things better? Because the truth of the matter is, if something is not out there, then it makes no sense. If you score 20 goals and it's not out there, it doesn't make any sense. I've not seen a compilation of Chijioke Mbaoma's 17 goals yet. Enyimba has not put that out. The NPFL has not put that out. Exactly. Niger Tornadoes media officer Alassane Kutigi made a compilation of Bashir Usman, their top scorer. It's out there, but it's not being pushed enough. So the clubs have their own parts to do. The NPFL have their own part to do, and even the NFF have their own part to do. But most importantly, those independent content creators that put the NPFL out there have to be encouraged. I did a video on TikTok about it. It's going to come out later in the evening. So if you're on my TikTok, you can go and see the video there. I didn't know I was going to talk about this on the show, but there's a video I made specifically for this same issue we're discussing. Yeah. It's going to be on TikTok much later. So if you're on my TikTok, or you can follow me around that footy, you see some of these things we're discussing here at Udoka. So it's the ecosystem needs to improve. There has to be a paradigm shift for us to be able to make progress data-wise.
All right, we hope that the NPFL will hear this, all the organizing committee from the NPFL, the NNL, the NLO, everybody that has to do with football in the country will hear this and improve on our data collation in sports, not just football now, in our sports. Thank you very much, Andrew Randa, for joining us, and definitely I will be on your TikTok page, and I hope I'll not be tapping to get some money. But of course, I hope to be there and get to see all that beautiful content on data analysis and football. Thank you very much, Andrew Randa, for joining us today.
Always a pleasure, Doka, and good afternoon to Olukoya, is that his name?
Yeah, Otukoya.
Good afternoon.
Oh, Otukoya, it's nice meeting you, bro. Have a lovely day.
And you too.
All right, thank you very much. And of course, we know that 4 teams have been promoted to the NPFL this season for the 2024-2025 season. The teams are Ikorodu City. There's also Beyond Limits, Nasarawa United, and El Kanemi Warriors. These are the teams that will do battle in the NPFL, and I just hope that they will not go as they came to the Nigeria Premier Football League. Looking at these 4 teams that have been promoted, is there any one of these teams you think would still go back to relegation, or do you think all 4 of them will survive the next season?
There's a controversy between that Beyond Limits and with Remo Stars. You look at the fact that there's a rule. We don't know yet. We're still waiting for the outcome of that inquiry. Talking about if they're going to be playing the NPFL next season. Because I think one owner can own 2 clubs. Because Shoname, who owns Remo Stars, also owns Beyond Limits. So we're still we're still going to wait for the NPFL board, the organizing body, to tell us what's going to happen next season. But however, Beyond Limits, wonderful team, to be honest. They did a lot of, they did us proud, not as a club, but as a country. They went to a lot of, a lot of scrimmage, a lot of. Let me say, grassroots championship in Europe, and they actually came back with the trophy. I think they played one in Spain. I think they played one in France. I guess they played a lot of games to encourage those guys, and they actually won some. And now they are in the NPFL next season. So what I want to say, as you said, I hope they will not go back the way they came. It's something that we need to work. We need to talk about. Ikorodu City. We don't know the structure they have. One thing you need to understand is that when the structure is not too strong, the whole club collapses. And that's what happens to a lot of clubs in Nigeria. Ikorodu City, we know, we are happy that Sporting Lagos has gone to NNL. They are back to the NPFL. And we don't know where the game venue will look like. Are they going to be playing in Ikorodu, or they will be playing in Lagos on the island? We don't know yet. But however, they should just follow suit what Sporting Lagos did. The branding, the merchandising, the sales of tickets, the fan base and all that, so that we can, we need to, it's not about the NPFL alone. Even the club itself, according to what Rando said, we have a lot of jobs to do. Social media is, the world is going global, and we need to key to that, and that's a lot of clubs are doing that. So we have the social media, and we have that, you're not paying 1 kobo to register that. So let's start that. Next season is close. Plan ahead. Let's see who the structure. Let's see the players you're going to buy. That's what the EPL gives you. Transfer market is going to be. It's always very intense to watch who's going to buy this, who's going to buy this. Even when they're announcing the Euro 2022-2024 final list of England, you can see what happened. Suspense field. Announcement and all that. That's what we need to see here. We don't even know players they sign sometimes. We later see them in jersey and we're like, this guy played in, we need to work on that. We need to work on the branding. We need to work on our social media pages. We need to work on a lot of things. Yeah. And that's what we need to do. Next season, aside from the NPFL, the club itself that are playing that league needs to put that into consideration so that we can actually be a part, not really a part, but at least closer to the clubs we watch over there. I can't be watching Arsenal and Chelsea while Ikorodu will be playing by United, and I can't watch it because they're not giving me that vibes I need. No vibes, no security, nothing. So they need to work on it. But I'm happy they are in the league, and one spinner loss, one spinner gain. Sporting Lagos and in the NNL, Ikorodu City now are in the NPFL. The
Ikorodu City will be playing in the NPFL. We'll also have El Kanemi Warriors, Nasarawa United, and Beyond Limits. And a couple of days ago, the owner, talking about Kunle Shoname, came out to say that both teams will play in the NPFL, and they will also play by the rules and regulations of the Nigeria Premier Football League. We'll wait for a final confirmation from the board and see what would happen with these 2 teams. And we look forward to an amazing season. Like Tolu said, when he's watching the likes of Ikorodu City and Bayelsa United, maybe they will not give him the kind of steez that he gets when he watches the likes of Arsenal playing in the EPL. But we just hope that things will be put into consideration and also improve on our football in the Nigeria Premier Football League. Still talking about football, let's go straight to the Egypt Premier League and look at the results of games played yesterday. National Bank was in action and they got a 5-0 win over Baladiat Al-Mehara. and El Dakleya defeated ZFC by 1-0. Fako FC beat Al Ittihad Alexandria 1-0. And today we would see Al Ahly taking on Zamalek, a big one to look out for. In the Morocco Cup, it will be Raja Casablanca taking on MCO Uja. All right, from there, let's travel to Germany and talk about the Euro 2024 games. As yesterday we saw interesting games. Spain got a 1-0 win over Albania, and Croatia, when Modric missed the penalty in less than 1 minute, he scored a rebound to ensure Croatia led that game 1-0. And it felt like Croatia were almost in
the next round.
Glory days in the next round, and it didn't happen. Italy had other plans, and that game ended 1-1 with Italy sealing qualification to the round of 16. Croatia on the verge of crashing out. They have a slim chance of qualifying for the round of 16, but of course they have 2 points, and the sad one for Luka Modric. And looking at the games that we played today, Denmark will be up against Serbia. There'll be England versus Slovenia, and in Group D, France will take on Poland. And that's a tough one to look out for because we look forward to seeing Mbappe with the mask. The Netherlands will take on Austria. Now let's take a look at the teams that have already qualified for the Euro 2024 knockout stages. 8 teams, to be precise, have qualified for the next round. We have England, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and Switzerland. Now England, France, and the Netherlands qualified even before they played their last game, their last group games, because Spain defeated Albania yesterday in one of the group games, talking about Group B, a game that was played yesterday. So these are the 8 teams that have qualified. Now, 3 teams have been officially eliminated from the tournament, and that is Poland, Scotland, and Albania. Now, Croatia still have a slim chance of qualifying, and also they have a bigger chance of crashing out of the tournament. Let's run quickly to the Copa America, where we saw the likes of Uruguay beating Panama 3-1. There was Brazil and Costa Rica, a disappointing draw. It was in that game because I know some guys who put their house rent on that game that Brazil was going to beat Costa Rica, even with a handicap win, but they ended goalless, and it was a sad one for, and I just hope that they will not be sleeping under the bridge by the time I call them next. Colombia defeated Paraguay by 2-1, and in Group A fixture, Peru will take on Canada. Now let's talk basketball before we leave. Now, LA Lakers last season, I know they struggled in the NBA with likes of LeBron James trying to lead that team. But today we hear that a new coach has been employed. That is J.J. Redick. He is the new manager for the LA Lakers, marking him as the 29th head coach in the franchise's storied history. And the 40-year-old former NBA player has signed a 4-year contract with an annual salary around $8 million, although the specific terms have not been disclosed. Now, Redick, who enjoyed a 15-year NBA career, is recognized for his sharp shooting and high basketball IQ. He played for teams like the Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans, there's also Philadelphia 76ers, the LA Clippers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Orlando Magic. Now, notably, he was part of 14 teams that made it to the NBA playoffs and ranks 20th all-time in made 3 points. Tolu, is this the man to lead LA Lakers forward? Because we also hear that he is a sports analyst, an NBA analyst, and I'm wondering, because in football, we've not seen any of these analysts that have done so well in coaching. Will this be a change for J.J. Redick and the LA Lakers?
There will not be any change.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be a calamity, to be honest, because there's no experience, no wealth of experience. You can't give what you don't have, obviously. And not a team, not a franchise club like LA Lakers. And there are a lot of stories concerning that because a lot of people are saying LeBron James may not want to work with some franchise top coaches because of the kind of clout he has in the club. And but that's another topic for another day. Redick, no experience anyways, and signing a max deal for 4 years is quite massive anyways. And I told you it's going to be a calamity, and he's not going to be putting LA Lakers to anything. Because you remember, if they signed him, they are offering LeBron James another new 3 years offer.
Yeah.
They should mean that there's a plan work somewhere which we don't understand, which I know myself, you know. So if it was going to be a top club, a top coach that come to pick up the job, it's possible that LeBron James will call it quit in basketball, probably take a move away from LA Lakers. But you know, he can't work with big coaches, and he want a say. People say he's the assistant coach of the team, not even the captain, because he came in with a bang. Yeah, actually won the NBA championship with them in the COVID-19 era, and but I feel Reddick is not the kind of coach they need now. You can't bring a coach that don't have that clout. If it was Timberwolves, it was the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's fine. If it was a club like Indiana Pacers, cool. Not a club like LA Lakers, they're one of the biggest clubs in the Western Conference.
Definitely one of the biggest clubs in the NBA, and of course, looking at one of the biggest players in the NBA as well, talking about LeBron James. He has been offered a 3-year contract, a 3-year max contract extension, and which will see him being valued at about $160 million. But then he has until the 29th of June to opt into the final year of his current contract, which would pay him $51.4 million. So we'll see what would happen with LeBron James, the Lakers, and of course the new manager, JJ Redick, who actually threw the internet into chaos when it was announced as the new manager for the Lakers. But of course, we do not have time to talk about all of that now concerning LeBron James, his new contract, and what would happen with the Lakers come next season. Because this is where we'll draw a wrap on today's show in the game on News Central TV. I would say thank you very much to Toluwalashe Otunkoya for joining me in the studio today.
The pleasure is mine always, and it's good to do this with you.
All right, thank you very much. And of course, a big regards and shout out to Andrew Randa, who also joined us to talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League, the highs and the lows, and what to expect next season. I'm Udoka Njoku saying thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.